Imagine a doctor taking your blood pressure today and without running a single physical trial.
Right.
They tell you exactly what your heart will be doing in 6 months if you change your diet. Like, no guesswork at all.
Yeah, just a mathematically precise forecast of your own body.
It sounds totally crazy, right?
Eh.
But today, we're unpacking a stack of 23 cutting-edge medical AI papers that make this sci-fi scenario a literal reality. So welcome to this deep dive into the source material.
I'm glad to be here.
Our mission today is unpacking how AI is completely rewiring clinical medicine. I mean, we are looking at everything from building digital twins of our bodies to chatbots that can actually diagnose eye diseases to solving the massive privacy roadblocks in healthcare.
And that context is absolutely critical for you to keep in mind as you listen. We hear so much hype about AI.
Oh, definitely.
Everywhere.
Right. But these papers represent the messy real-world application of the technology. It's not just about what models can do in some vacuum. It's about why it matters for real patients and doctors on the ground. Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this. To treat a patient effectively, you need to know where their health is heading, right?
Yes.
You can't just look at a static snapshot from a single visit.
Right. Because medicine has historically been so reactive. You show up when you feel sick, and they try to figure out what just happened.
Yep.
But the shift happening now is toward dynamic predictive modeling, creating what we call digital twins.
Which brings us right to our first source. If we look at paper 1, it introduces a model called 𝗪𝗵𝗻. And it's basically doing exactly that. It's like a weather forecast, but for your internal organs.
That is a phenomenal analogy, actually. 𝗪𝗵𝗻 is fascinating because of how it processes human physiology.
Yeah.
It takes 667 different measurements.
Wow.
Yeah. We're talking about blood biomarkers, sleep data, gut microbiome, wearable stats, all gathered from over 15,000 individuals.
That is a lot of data.
It treats all those biological signals like a language. It predicts how your physiological weather will change over time.
What really stood out to me in paper 1 is the in silico simulation. They don't need to put you through a physical trial.
Right.
The model predicted a 6-month change in diastolic blood pressure after a nutrition intervention, hitting a Pearson correlation of 0.78.
Which is huge.
Yeah. It essentially means its forecast closely matched reality without the person ever doing the diet first.
But simulating a healthy person on a diet is one thing.
Yeah.
What happens when the brain starts to fail in unpredictable ways?
Oh, right.
If we look at paper 13, it applies this digital twin concept to a much more devastating condition, Alzheimer's disease.
That's the Personalized Cognitive Decline Assessment digital twin, right? PCDD.
Exactly. Alzheimer's progression is notoriously hard to map. It looks different in every patient. Okay. But in paper 13, researchers fused clinical data, biomarkers, and imaging data from a massive database called the 𝗪𝗵𝗆 dataset.
Okay.
And by blending all that, the model predicts physical changes, like the shrinking of ventricle volume in the brain. And it predicts future scores on the ADS-13 cognitive test years in advance.
So it gives doctors a highly personalized roadmap of a patient's cognitive decline.
Precisely.
But what if we don't have years? Like, what if you only have hours?
The ICU.
Yeah. If we move to paper 7, it introduces 𝗪𝗏𝗏, which forecasts irregular critical care time series.
ICU data is utter chaos. You don't get a blood pressure reading exactly every 60 minutes on the dot.
Right. It's just whenever the nurse takes it.
Or whenever a machine throws an alert. So 𝗪𝗏𝗏 is built to forecast across those messy, irregular gaps.
They tested this on patients with septic shock using the 𝗵𝗽𝗶𝗀 cohort, and it significantly improved short-horizon 6-hour forecasting. But the craziest part of paper 7 is how it proves its work. It maps out a visible cause and effect graph.
Yes, a directed ethiclic graph. It shows exactly which symptom caused the next one.
So doctors don't have to blindly trust a black box.
Right.
They can just see, oh, the AI is predicting a blood pressure crash because of this kidney change 2 hours ago.
That's the crucial difference. If doctors can't see the why, they simply won't use the tool.
Now, having a predictive model is great. But how do humans actually interact with these insights? The conversation naturally shifts to conversational AI. Let's look at paper 4.
Ocular chat.
Yes. Instead of just spitting out a diagnosis, ocular chat acts like a conversational partner for age-related macular degeneration, or AMD.
And it achieves over 95% accuracy for advanced AMD.
Right. But it explains its reasoning interactively. You can talk to it.
But wait, I have to push back here.
Sure.
If an AI agent is chatting with you over months, what happens when you misremember your own symptoms?
Oh, that's a good point.
If I tell the chatbot I've never had high blood pressure, but my official hospital record says I do, what does the AI do? Does it overwrite my chart with my bad memory?
Well, if we introduce paper 14...
What's fascinating here is how paper 14 solves exactly that. It introduces a dual-stream memory architecture for health coaching.
Okay, dual stream. So two separate paths.
Yes. It strictly separates the patient's narrative from the medically validated electronic health record, the FHIR data.
So it doesn't mix up your text messages with your official lab results.
Exactly. It caught 84.4% of clinical discrepancies in testing. So the AI doesn't learn bad facts from the patient.
That makes total sense. And bringing up paper 15, we see how patients interact with their own medical records, which are always so confusing to read.
Oh, definitely.
Paper 15 proposes a cascaded pipeline using Gemini 2.5 Pro. It interprets patient queries and grounds the answers strictly in the evidence. It actually ranked first in question interpretation at RIHA 2026.
It translates the jargon, but physically cannot hallucinate an answer outside of what the doctor wrote.
Right.
But how does AI read the broader medical literature? If we introduce paper 8, we see
MedVR, yeah.
Instead of stripping raw text out of PDFs, MedVR looks at visual page images. It actually looks at the tables and the layout.
Because the layout holds so much context.
Exactly. And by doing that, it hit 78.6% accuracy on medical QA.
And moving to paper 23, we see an AI tackling complex clinical trial tables. Paper 23 uses Scope, which is a multi-LLM planner.
It maps out the reasoning rules before answering.
Right, so it solves the bad reasoning problem where standard LLMs just jump to conclusions without thinking first.
Which highlights something profound. For an AI to explain itself, it first has to learn how human doctors actually think.
Oh, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's jump to paper 3. Paper 3 introduces CheXthought. The researchers gathered 103,000 chain of thought traces.
Wow.
And 6.6 million visual attention annotations.
From actual doctors.
From 501 radiologists across 71 countries. They literally tracked their visual search strategies to train better vision language model.
Because a doctor doesn't scan an X-ray like reading a book. Their eyes dart to the anomalies immediately.
Yes, and the AI learns those eye movements.
That is incredible. And if we look at paper 19, which introduces MedSynapse-V, we see how they mathematically capture a doctor's implicit diagnostic memory.
Implicit memory, like a gut feeling.
Exactly. The intuitive snap judgments experts make. The model synthesizes those intuitive leaps within its hidden layers.
And bringing in paper 11, we see how to translate those intuitive features into words. Paper 11 uses the RIHA framework.
Hierarchical alignment, right?
Yep. It translates complex visual features into properly structured long-form radiology reports. It aligns it at the paragraph, sentence, and word levels, so it sounds exactly like an expert wrote it.
But what happens when the AI is wrong and the doctor ignores it? Doesn't that break the system?
You would think so. But let's look at paper 6. Rather than seeing a clinician override as a failure, paper 6 treats it as goldmine preference data.
Oh, like RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback.
Exactly. It trains the AI on patient trajectories in value-based care using those overrides, which prevents suppression bias.
So it learns from the rejection.
Exactly. Now we have to talk about the massive elephant in the room. Data.
Right, privacy.
All this AI requires mountains of data, but healthcare data is strictly private.
If we look at paper 10, it tackles privacy-preserving federated learning.
So for you listening, federated learning is where models train locally at the hospital without the data ever leaving the building.
But even that has privacy leaks. Paper 10 tested this on Swedish cardiovascular data. They showed that homomorphic encryption matched centralized ML performance.
Homomorphic encryption, that's where you do math on encrypted data, right?
Exactly. But they also found that differential privacy degraded the logistic regression performance. So balancing privacy and utility is still really hard.
And what if a hospital just doesn't have enough data, like for a rare disease? And paper 18 solves this. Paper 18 generates synthetic samples using FedSSG to balance out underrepresented pathologies across different hospitals.
Synthetic data is a game changer. Turning to paper 17, we see highly realistic, diverse mental health reports generated by models like DeepSeek R1 and Qwen 3.5.
Using ICD-10 diagnostic codes, right?
Yes. And because it's mental health, privacy is paramount. This creates synthetic training data without any risk of memorizing or plagiarizing real patient data.
Which is brilliant. And when you have all this data, you get massive foundation models. Let's look at paper 2. BrainDINO. It was trained on 6.6 million unlabeled brain MRI slices.
Just learning the raw structures on its own.
Yeah. And paper 5 benchmarks breast cancer models. And the crazy thing is, the tiny H0 mini model, which has less than 8% of the parameters, actually outperformed its massive teacher model.
So bigger isn't always better.
Not at all.
But as these models learn, they suffer from catastrophic forgetting.
Oh, right.
Let's examine paper 21. It introduces CORE, which solves catastrophic forgetting for brain lesion segmentation.
Wait, what does CORE stand for?
Concept reasoning expansion. So as it learns new things, the model grows dynamically without losing its old knowledge.
Wow. Okay, looking at paper 9, we transition to the final frontier, the raw, complex physics and geometry of medical imaging. Paper 9 uses deep learning to segment peritoneal cancer regions from CT scans.
And the goal is to replace invasive diagnostic surgeries, right?
Exactly. And it achieved a DICE score of 0.82.
That's seriously impressive. And if we introduce paper 12, we see this applied to the insane complexity of the brain's blood vessels, the circle of Willis.
Oh man, those tiny little vessels.
Yes. Using the 𝗂𝗲𝗃 topology-aware loss function, the model preserves the delicate vascular connectivity. It doesn't just look at pixels. It understands the physical pipes need to connect.
And speaking of complex biology, if we look at paper 16, they built KAYRA. It's an AI microservice for karyotyping, which is analyzing chromosomes.
Right.
It hits 98.91% segmentation accuracy, and it can be deployed entirely on-premise for privacy.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the resilience of these models is key. If we look at paper 20, they solve the magnification shift problem in histopathology.
What's that?
Well, if a doctor changes the zoom level on the microscope, standard AI gets confused.
Oh, sure.
But paper 20 introduces a domain general model that shrinks the embedding signature threefold, and it keeps the AUC at 0.967.
So it's basically magnification invariant. It doesn't care how zoomed in you are. To wrap up this stack, let's look at paper 22. This one blew my mind. The AI learns dual energy CT material decomposition without any ground truth training data.
Wait, zero ground truth data.
Zero. It learns purely by minimizing discrepancies using the laws of physics. It calculates how X-rays interact with matter. It's literally teaching itself by understanding the laws of physics.
Wow. It doesn't need humans, it just deduces it from physics.
It's incredible. So what does this all mean? We've gone from predicting health futures with digital twins to chatbots that check their facts to models that learn from physics and track doctors' eye movements.
It's a total paradigm shift. But it leaves us with a final thought to mull over. We've spent all this time talking about how AI is learning to mimic the implicit memory, the chain of thought, and the reasoning of expert doctors.
Yeah.
But as these models begin to uncover patterns hidden deep within time series data and molecular structures...
Patterns we can't even see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Patterns human eyes biologically cannot see. We have to ask, at what point does the AI stop learning from our medical intuition and start teaching us a completely new way to understand human biology?
Oh, wow. That is a wild thought. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Keep questioning the world around you, and we'll catch you next time.